Welcome to Love Lies Chronicles.
I'd love to know what you think. Every comment helps me make the next story better. Subscribe to stay tuned. I should have noticed the way she positioned herself at the center of the pavilion, surrounded by her cousins like some kind of panel of judges. It was a humid Saturday afternoon in mid-August, the kind where the air feels thick enough to drink. The kind where your shirt sticks to your back after 5 minutes, and the breeze, when it comes, offers no relief. Her family's annual reunion was in full swing at Riverside Park. Paper plates stacked on folding tables covered with checkered tablecloths that someone's aunt had brought every year for the last decade. Kids screamed on the playground equipment, their voices carrying across the open pavilion. The smell of burgers on the grill mixed with lighter fluid and cut grass. Someone's Bluetooth speaker played classic rock that nobody was really listening to, just background noise for conversation. I'd arrived late. 20 minutes late, to be precise. I'd stopped to pick up ice because we always ran out halfway through these events, and I'd learned years ago that being the person who remembered practical details earned you less criticism than being empty-handed and on time. My wife was already holding court with her cousins and aunt when I walked up carrying the 40-pound cooler. She was gesturing animatedly, telling some story that had them all leaning in and laughing. Her mother was arranging potato salad with mathematical precision on one of the serving tables. Her father manned the grill with the intense focus of a man avoiding conversation and eye contact. Her brother leaned against a tree 20 feet away, beer in hand, scrolling through his phone. And her grandmother sat slightly apart from everyone else in an old lawn chair with faded fabric, watching everything with those sharp eyes that missed nothing. She'd been watching families for 78 years. She knew how to read a room, even when that room had no walls. Finally, my wife announced as I set down the cooler, "We've been waiting forever." I didn't respond, just started helping set up, pulling out sodas and arranging them on ice. "He never remembers to check if we have enough ice," she said to her cousin, loud enough for everyone to hear. I literally have to tell him everything. I kept working. This wasn't new. These little comments had been happening for months. At restaurants with friends, at her office party, even at my birthday dinner. But something about today felt different. Maybe it was the audience. Maybe it was the heat. Maybe I was just finally paying attention. I was unpacking potato salad when I heard her voice rise above the crowd, that particular tone she used when she wanted everyone listening. Her cousin had asked how married life was going. "Well," my wife said with a laugh, "I haven't killed him yet, so that's something." Nervous chuckles from a few people. Her mother looked uncomfortable. Her father suddenly became very interested in flipping burgers. Honestly, my wife was warming up now. "He's lucky I haven't left him yet." More laughter. Louder this time. Her closer cousins were encouraging her. Some days I wonder what I was thinking, but divorce seems like too much paperwork. I glanced up from the cooler. Her brother was smirking. Her younger sister was looking down at her phone. And her grandmother wasn't laughing at all. She was watching me. "My friends keep asking when I'm going to upgrade to a better model," my wife continued. "But you know, at least he's useful for reaching high shelves and opening jars." The laughter was getting more comfortable now. People were settling into it. This was entertainment. The bar was pretty low when I married him, and somehow he still limps over it. I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Not anger, not hurt, just clarity, like a lens clicking into focus. She kept going. "My mom always said I could do better, but you work with what you've got, right, Mom?" Her mother's face flushed. She didn't answer. I continued setting out food calmly, methodically, but I was counting similar comments over the past year. Her birthday toast where she'd joked about my participation trophy qualities. The restaurant where she'd told our friends I was adequate in most areas. The family dinner where she'd suggested I was her practice husband. This wasn't humor. This was a pattern. Then her grandmother stood up from her lawn chair. She walked directly to me, not hurrying, but with purpose. "Can you help me get something from my car?" she asked. My wife was still talking, still collecting laughs, still building her performance. She didn't even notice her grandmother leaving. We walked toward the parking lot in silence. The noise from the pavilion faded behind us. When we were far enough away, she stopped and turned to face me. "How long has she been talking about you like that?" I opened my mouth to deflect, to make excuses, to explain that she was just joking around. "No," she said, cutting me off. "She isn't. And you know it." I closed my mouth. She was right. I did know it. "My late husband would never have tolerated that," she said quietly. Neither should you. It's just her sense of humor. I tried. She doesn't mean. Stop. Her voice was firm, but not unkind. I've been married for 52 years before he passed. I know the difference between affectionate teasing and contempt. That back there, that's contempt. Something in my chest tightened. Hearing someone else name it made it real. I never spoke ill of my husband publicly, she continued. Even when I was frustrated with him. Even when we argued. Never. Because respect is the foundation. Without it, you're just two people sharing a house. We stood there in the parking lot. A car door slammed somewhere. Kids shrieked in the distance. The sun was beginning its descent toward the horizon, and the shadows were getting longer. Let me tell you something, she said, and there was a weight to her words that made me listen. In 52 years, my husband and I had our share of disagreements. He could be stubborn, set in his ways. There were times I wanted to shake him, but I never, not once, made him small in front of other people. And he never did that to me. She looked back toward the pavilion where we could still hear my wife's voice carrying over the general conversation. That's how it starts, you know. Little comments, little jokes, testing boundaries, seeing what you'll tolerate. If she'll humiliate you in front of family, her grandmother said. What does she say behind closed doors? I thought about the comments I'd been ignoring. The eye rolls when I spoke. The way she dismissed my opinions in front of others. The times she'd corrected me in front of company like I was a child who didn't know better. The casual cruelty I'd normalized over time, accepting it as just part of who she was. You deserve better than this, she said, touching my arm with weathered fingers that had worn a wedding ring for half a century. Don't let kindness be mistaken for weakness. She paused, looking at me intently with eyes that had seen marriages succeed and fail, that had watched grandchildren grow and great-grandchildren arrive. Whatever you decide to do it with dignity. Don't become what she's trying to make you. Don't let her turn you bitter or angry or small. If you're going to walk away clean. Hold your head up. But don't stay and let her whittle you down to nothing. We walked back to the pavilion. My wife was still entertaining her audience. But something had fundamentally changed in those 10 minutes. I didn't know yet what I was going to do. But I knew with absolute certainty that I was going to do something. 2 hours passed. The food was served and eaten. Kids chased each other around the playground. Adults settled into conversations and the comfortable torpor of a full stomach on a hot day. And I watched my wife continue her performance. She told her aunt about training him to put the toilet seat down. She informed her cousins that she'd had to teach me how to dress properly for work events. She shared with anyone who'd listen that I was fine and perfectly adequate, but that she sometimes wondered what life would be like with someone more exciting. Each comment landed like a small stone, individually insignificant. Together, a landslide. Her grandmother caught my eye across the pavilion. She gave me a slight nod. I walked over to where my wife stood with her cousins. The conversation paused as I approached. Can I have everyone's attention for a minute? My wife looked surprised but pleased. Oh, are you finally going to make a toast? People started gathering. Her parents, her siblings, aunts and uncles, cousins. The family circling up the way families do when someone has an announcement. I waited until everyone was quiet. I want to thank everyone for coming today, I said. These family gatherings are important. They remind us what matters most. My wife was smiling, thinking this was going somewhere celebratory. I also want to address something that's been said today, multiple times, by my wife. Her smile faltered. She's mentioned several times that she hasn't left me yet, that she wonders why she stays, that I'm lucky she's still here. The silence that followed was absolute. People froze mid-conversation, mid-bite, mid-gesture. I want everyone here to know, I'm not lucky, and she doesn't need to stay any longer. What are you? She started. I'm asking for a divorce. If the earlier silence was absolute, this one was a vacuum. No one breathed. My wife's face cycled through confusion, shock, anger. You can't be serious. I am. This isn't funny. No, I agreed. It isn't. Which is why I'm not joking. You're making a scene. Her voice rose, defensive. No, you made the scene. I'm just ending it. Her mother's hand covered her mouth. Her father had put down the spatula. Her brother pushed off from the tree he'd been leaning against. Her cousins' faces were frozen in various expressions of shock. Only her grandmother sat calmly, arms crossed, with the smallest hint of approval in her eyes. I'll be in touch through an attorney about next steps, I said. My wife grabbed my arm. You can't just leave. I gently removed her hand. You've been saying all day that you should leave me. I'm just making it easier for you. I walked to my car. Behind me, I could hear the explosion beginning. Her voice rising, sharp and incredulous. Her mother's placating tones trying to calm things down. Confused murmurs from relatives who couldn't quite process what they'd just witnessed. Someone said something about giving us space. Someone else suggested maybe we should all just calm down and talk this through. But I was already halfway across the parking lot. Already unlocking my car. Already leaving. I didn't look back. Looking back would suggest there was something behind me worth returning to. The drive to the hotel was the quietest my mind had been in months. No mental rehearsal of conversations. No planning what to say or how to say it. No anxiety about reactions or consequences. Just quiet. Just the hum of tires on asphalt and the fading light of late afternoon shifting into evening. It felt like freedom. I checked into a Hampton Inn and finally let myself think. The room was exactly what I needed. Generic in that comforting way hotel rooms are. Beige walls, industrial carpet, a desk by the window overlooking the parking lot, a bed that thousands of strangers had slept in before me. It felt appropriate somehow. Neutral ground. A place with no history, no memories, no baggage. My phone started buzzing almost immediately. Calls from my wife, her mother, her brother, various relatives who probably couldn't quite believe what they'd just witnessed at what was supposed to be a pleasant family gathering. Text messages started flooding in, escalating from angry to confused to desperate in the span of 30 minutes. Her first texts were defensive, almost aggressive. This is ridiculous. You can't just leave like that. Everyone thinks you've lost your mind. Then confused, seeking some kind of explanation. I don't understand what just happened. Can you please explain this to me? Why are you doing this? Then desperate, the tone shifting to panic. We need to talk. Please come home. I'm sorry, okay? Is that what you want to hear? I ignored all of them. Every single one. Let them ring. Let them pile up. Let her sit with the uncertainty of silence. Instead, I opened my laptop and pulled up our bank accounts. Numbers don't lie. Numbers don't perform or deflect or make excuses. Numbers don't tell you they're joking when you call them out. Numbers just are. Joint checking held $8,000. Joint savings had $15,000. Standard amounts for a couple who'd been married 6 years. Nothing unusual there. Nothing that would raise any flags. But my separate account, the one I'd opened 3 years ago when her boutique idea started failing and she became increasingly secretive about money, the one she didn't know existed because I'd never mentioned it, that told a different story entirely. $127,000. Money I'd quietly moved over time. Money from bonuses and side projects and careful, deliberate saving. I told myself I was keeping it separate for practical reasons. Investment opportunities that required liquid capital. Emergency funds in case something unexpected happened. Business opportunities that might come up. But if I was being completely honest with myself, some part of me had been preparing for exactly this moment for longer than I wanted to admit. The house was in both our names, but I'd been paying the mortgage for the last 3 years. Ever since her boutique attempt bled through our savings, and then some. The paper trail was immaculate. Every payment directly from my account. Every property tax payment. Every home repair. Every insurance payment. Every utility bill. All documented. All traceable. All mine. I started reviewing credit card statements next, and that's when the story got more interesting. Her spending patterns told me things she'd never said out loud. Things I'd been too trusting, or too distracted, or too accommodating to notice. Shopping, obviously. She'd always liked nice things. Designer bags, expensive shoes, clothes from boutiques that charged what I made in a week for a single dress. I'd accepted that. It was her money too, technically. But there were also frequent lunches. Multiple times a week. Always at nice restaurants. The kind with cloth napkins and wine lists and entrees that cost $40. Always charged to our joint card. Always with someone labeled only as study group friend in her contact list. Study group. For what? She hadn't been in school for years. Hadn't mentioned taking any courses or pursuing any certification. Just meeting her study group. I started counting. 3 times a week, sometimes 4. For the last 6 months. That was a lot of studying. Then there were the joint account withdrawals. Cash withdrawals she'd never mentioned. Small amounts that wouldn't trigger alarm bells. $300 here. $500 there. Sometimes $200. Never anything dramatic enough to notice in the moment when you're busy and trust the person you're married to, but adding up to something significant over time. $12,000 unaccounted for in the last 6 months. Gone. Just gone. No explanation, no discussion, no shared decision about where that money went or why. I sat back in the hotel desk chair and stared at the screen. The numbers glowed back at me in the dim light of the room. This wasn't just about disrespect. This wasn't just about her public humiliation routine. This was about a pattern I'd been willfully ignoring because confronting it would mean admitting I'd been a fool. My phone buzzed again, different from the others. A text from her younger sister. "I need to tell you something. Can we meet for coffee?" I stared at the message for a long moment. Her sister had always been quieter, more observant. The kind of person who noticed things but didn't always speak up because speaking up in that family meant inviting drama. If she was reaching out, it meant she knew something. Something she thought I needed to know. I typed back. "Tomorrow morning. Starbucks on Monroe Street. 9 a.m. Her response came immediately. "I'll be there. And thank you for finally standing up for yourself." Someone needed to. That last sentence sat with me. Someone needed to. As if they'd all been watching this happen. All been seeing what I'd been ignoring. All been waiting for me to finally notice I was being treated like something less than a partner, less than an equal, less than a person deserving of basic respect. That night, I expected to feel something. Regret, maybe. Sadness. Some kind of grief for what we'd had. Instead, I felt like I'd finally set down a weight I'd been carrying for years. The Starbucks on Monroe Street was quiet on Monday morning. Her sister was already there when I arrived, sitting in the corner booth, nervous. She was younger by 3 years, always quieter, always a bit overshadowed by my wife's louder personality. "I'm not here to talk you out of anything," she said immediately. "Actually, I think you should have done this a long time ago." I sat down. "I found something." She pulled out her phone. "We share an Apple account from when I was in college." She forgot about it. "These messages sync to my iPad." She showed me screenshots. Months of conversations with her college friend. Messages that weren't quite physical cheating, but were miles past appropriate. Sometimes I think about what life would be like if I'd chosen differently. You deserve someone who appreciates you. He's so comfortable and stable. Sometimes I miss excitement. You know where to find me if you ever want to remember what excitement feels like. The messages went back to March. Maybe longer. She told me she was just catching up with an old friend, her sister said. But when I saw these, I knew. I've been trying to figure out whether to tell you. Then yesterday happened, and I realized you deserve to know the whole truth. I wasn't surprised. Not exactly. It made a horrible kind of sense. Mom's freaking out, her sister continued. She's worried about what people will think. Dad's been quiet. And grandmother told everyone to leave you alone. Said you'd done exactly what you should have. Thank you for telling me, I said. I already emailed you the screenshots. She paused. I know she's my sister, but what she did to you, that's not okay. For what it's worth, I always liked you better than her anyway. My attorney meeting was that afternoon. The law offices of Morrison & Associates occupied a modest suite downtown. The attorney was a middle-aged woman with a reputation for being thorough but fair. She reviewed everything. The timeline, the public humiliation, the financial irregularities, the emotional affair evidence. You've got a strong position, she said. No-fault divorce in this state, but the evidence supports your case for asset division. The separate account you maintained was smart. Very smart. Has she tried to contact you? 47 times Saturday night alone. Don't engage. All communication goes through me now. She outlined the strategy. File immediately. Document everything. Separate finances today. The timeline would be 60 to 90 days minimum. Walking out of that office, I felt completely in control for the first time since the reunion. I had to go back to the house eventually. Tuesday evening, I drove over to pack more clothes. Her car was in the driveway. She was waiting inside, pacing. She looked like she hadn't slept, but she was trying to control it, trying to maintain some composure. Finally, she said when I walked in, "You can't just ignore me for 3 days. I'm here for my things. That's all. We need to talk about this. You can't just blow up our marriage over some jokes." They weren't jokes, and I didn't blow up our marriage. You've been dismantling it for months. Everyone talks like that. You're being too sensitive. Your grandmother doesn't think I overreacted. That stopped her. Grandmother's opinion carried weight. When was the last time you made a joke that wasn't at my expense? I asked. She pivoted. Well, maybe if you paid more attention to me. I've been here every night. I've paid the mortgage since your boutique fell apart. I've listened to you criticize me in front of friends, family, strangers. What exactly did you need that I wasn't providing? You've been distant. Or maybe you were too busy texting your college friend to notice. Her face drained of color. What are you talking about? I know about the messages. All of them. Those aren't. We were just talking about how you wonder what life would be like if you'd chosen differently. Talking about how I'm stable but boring. Talking about remembering what excitement feels like. It wasn't like that. Nothing happened. You're right. You didn't physically cheat. You just emotionally checked out of our marriage, publicly humiliated me repeatedly, and maintained an inappropriate relationship with another man. But sure, let's focus on what you didn't do. She was crying now. I'll stop talking to him. I'll block him right now. I'll apologize to everyone. We can fix this. You can apologize to whoever you want. That's between you and them. But you and I, we're done. You can't be serious. I already filed for divorce. You'll be served Friday. The tears became real panic. You didn't even give me a chance to make this right. It's not about the comments or the texts. It's about respect. And you lost respect for me a long time ago. I just finally respected myself enough to notice. I packed systematically while she followed me room to room, pleading, arguing, accusing. I remained calm, methodical. At the door, suitcase in hand, I said, I'll have my attorney contact you about the rest. I didn't look back. Looking back would suggest there was something worth seeing. The next few days brought a cascade of messages and calls. Her mother wanted to talk. Her father left a voicemail about sitting down man to man. Her brother sent aggressive texts that stopped when I told him to ask his sister about her college friend. Only her sister kept me updated on the fallout. She got served. Called mom screaming. Said you're trying to take everything. Grandmother told mom and dad that she'd warned her years ago about talking to you that way. Said you were always going to figure it out eventually. My wife's messages oscillated between anger and desperation. How can you do this? 6 years together and you're throwing it away. Fine. Have your divorce. But don't expect me to make this easy. I sent one response. I don't expect anything from you. That's the point. 2 weeks later, I was loading groceries into my car at Whole Foods when her car pulled up beside mine. Not coincidence. She'd been waiting. She looked different. Not disheveled anymore. She'd dressed carefully, done her makeup. But exhaustion showed beneath the presentation. I've been trying to reach you, she said. My attorney said all communication should go through her. I needed to talk to you. The person I married. I continued loading groceries. What do you want? I've been in therapy. Every day since this started. I'm trying to understand why I said those things. The therapist says I have issues with vulnerability. That I push people away before they can hurt me. I didn't realize I was doing it. I'm glad you're getting help. Genuinely. But your therapy doesn't change what happened. And it doesn't obligate me to stay while you figure yourself out. You're not even going to give me a chance to apply what I'm learning? 6 years of marriage and you're just done? The man I married would have fought for this. The man you married did fight for this. For 6 years. He fought by staying patient when you criticized him. He fought by paying bills when your business failed. He fought by ignoring every public humiliation because he loved you. That man finally realized he was the only one fighting. I ended it with him. The college friend. Completely. I told him to never contact me again. You ended it after you got caught. Not before. And you're only in therapy because I filed for divorce. That's not change. That's panic. She was crying now, real tears. What if I can prove I've changed? What if I spend a year in therapy and then we talk? What if I write apology letters to everyone? Then you'll be a better person for your next relationship. But there isn't going to be a next relationship with me. You want it out. You said it. Multiple times. To everyone. I'm just giving you what you asked for. I didn't mean it. Everyone in my family talks like that. I know. Your mom makes comments about your dad. Your dad rolls his eyes about your mom. You all think it's normal. But it's not. It's slow poison. And I'm not drinking it anymore. I closed my trunk. She stood there, finally out of arguments. I hope your therapy helps. I really do. But I hope it helps you for you. Not for us. In my rearview mirror, she looked smaller somehow. Or maybe I was just finally seeing clearly. That was the last real conversation we had. 3.5 months later, I signed the final divorce papers. The settlement was clean. I got the house since I'd been paying for it anyway. Joint accounts were split with restitution for her unauthorized withdrawals. Her retirement stayed intact. My separate account was never mentioned in proceedings because she'd never known about it. This was one of the smoother processes I've handled, my attorney said. Once she realized fighting would cost more than settling, she signed. The evidence wouldn't have played well for her. She'd moved in with her mother. The college friend situation apparently didn't work out. He hadn't responded when she'd reached out to him after the separation. 6 years of marriage ended with a signature. But the marriage had really ended months before that, in slow increments of disrespect. I was just making it official. 8 months after the divorce was finalized, I ran into her at the farmer's market in Washington Park. Life had become quiet in the meantime. I'd bought a different house, smaller but entirely mine. Reconnected with hobbies I'd abandoned. Spent more time with my own family. Dated casually, but nothing serious. Quiet felt good. I was looking at tomatoes when I turned and saw her 2 stalls away. She'd seen me too. There was no avoiding it. She looked different. Healthier, actually. Casual clothes, ponytail, no performative presentation. More like herself than she'd been in years. "Hey," she said. "Hey." Awkward pause. "How have you been?" "Good. You?" "Better, actually. Still in therapy twice a week." "That's good. I'm glad. I wanted to say, if I ever saw you again, I wanted you to know that you were right." I waited. About the disrespect. About the way I talked to you. About all of it. My therapist helped me understand I was replicating what I saw growing up. My mom talks about my dad like that. I thought it was normal. But it's not. It's toxic. And I did it to you for years without realizing it. I appreciate you saying that. And I appreciate that you're working on it. I know we're done. I'm actually seeing someone. Nothing serious yet. But I'm trying to do things differently. I catch myself now. When I start to make a comment, I stop and think, is this respectful? Would I want someone talking about me like this? That's good. Really. Growth is good, even if it comes late. Do you hate me? No. I don't hate you. I don't really think about you much at all anymore. She flinched slightly. That probably sounds harsh, I said. But it's honest. I spent 6 years accommodating you. Then 6 months angry at you. Then another few months processing it all. Now, I'm just living my life. And you're not part of it. That's fair. I just wanted you to know that I get it now. What I lost. The thing is, you didn't lose me. You spent years pushing me away. Testing boundaries. Seeing how much disrespect I'd tolerate. Eventually, I answered that question. That wasn't loss. That was consequence. For what it's worth, I am sorry. Truly. I know. And I forgive you. But forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. It just means I'm not carrying that weight anymore. She turned to leave, then looked back. You seem happy. Lighter somehow. I am. I respected you for years. Now I respect myself. Turns out that feels better. She nodded, a small sad smile, and walked away into the crowd. I returned to shopping for tomatoes. I felt nothing. No lingering anger. No satisfaction. No regret. Just a man buying vegetables on a Saturday morning. That evening, I sat on my back porch with coffee. My dog, recently adopted, lay beside me. The neighborhood was quiet. Stars were coming out overhead. People always ask if I regret how things ended. If I wish I'd tried harder, waited longer, given more chances. I don't. Not because I'm cold or unforgiving, but because I finally understand what her grandmother understood all those years she was married. Respect isn't negotiable. It's not something you earn back after losing it. It's not something you can fake or perform or promise to work on later. It's either present or it isn't. Once it's gone, what you have isn't a marriage. It's a performance. 2 people playing roles, pretending the foundation hasn't cracked. My wife thought she could publicly diminish me without consequence. That my patience meant permission. That my kindness meant weakness. She learned differently. Not because I was cruel or vindictive, but because I finally valued myself enough to walk away from someone who didn't. Sometimes people ask if I miss being married. I don't miss being married to her. I don't miss walking on eggshells, wondering when the next public humiliation would come. I don't miss making excuses for behavior that would have embarrassed me to display. I miss the idea of what marriage should be. Partnership. Respect. 2 people who build each other up instead of tearing each other down. But I'd rather be single and peaceful than married and diminished. That family reunion, that terrible, clarifying afternoon, was the best thing that could have happened to me. Not because it ended my marriage, but because it reminded me what I'd been slowly losing in the name of keeping peace. My dignity. Her grandmother understood something simple but profound. Some prices are too high to pay, even for love. Especially for love. I hope my ex-wife finds what she's looking for. I hope her therapy helps her build healthier relationships. I genuinely do. But that's her journey now. Mine is here. In this house. With this peace. With this quiet, unmarked dignity that nobody can take from me. Because I finally learned what her grandmother tried to teach me that day in the parking lot. Self-respect isn't something you fight for. It's something you maintain. And sometimes, maintaining it means walking away from people who can't respect you. Even if they're family. Even if you love them. Even if it means starting over. The starting over part turns out to be easier than living small. I sipped my coffee. My dog shifted position beside me. The stars grew brighter overhead. Complete peace in the silence. I smiled. Not because I'd won, but because I'd finally stopped losing. Dear listeners, that's our ending. If it resonated, subscribe to support the channel. See you next time.